Let's begin the fourth and last practice for developing our inner gourmet. It's basically the same thing, but this time we'll do it with a full meal. And instead of using bite-sized pieces, we'll divide our meal into four more or less equal portions. Now, this meal can be anything: a bowl of pasta, a rice and vegetable plate, a sandwich and salad, whatever feels nourishing and satisfying to us. Now, because there are a lot of bites in a full meal, we'll only go through the 7 steps slowly for the first few bites of each portion. Then we'll go through the 7 steps quickly and informally for the other bites without guidance. And if we're ready, we'll begin with the first portion. So, step one, we'll be looking at the food and we'll be looking at the first portion of our meal and we'll notice the colors and the shapes, the textures. Is it simple? Is it complex? Is there a lot of variety? And we'll do this with curiosity and without judgment and noticing what's in our awareness, anticipation, memories, hunger. And when we're ready, we'll rate our enjoyment of the food during this step. And for step two, we'll smell the food, and depending on what the meal is, we may bring the food to our nostrils with a fork or a spoon, and we'll take a deep breath and we'll take in the aroma and notice any spices or warmth or subtle notes. And we'll be attentive to what's in our awareness. Is there any body sensation? Are we salivating? Do we feel comforted, excited? Any thoughts or memories? And we'll be with whatever is in our awareness without judgment. And when we're ready, we'll pause and we'll rate our enjoyment of the food during this step. And in this third step, we will be feeling the food with our lips. And again, if appropriate, we will bring the food to our lips with a fork or a spoon, and we'll gently press it against our lips. And we'll notice the texture, the temperature, whether it's hard or soft, crispiness, or anything else. And when we're ready, we will give a rating to the enjoyment of this food during this step. And again, let's remind ourselves to ask ourselves why we gave this number and not a number that's higher or lower. And we'll move on to the fourth step where we put the food into our mouth and hold it there without chewing. So if you haven't already, we'll do that. And we'll just let the food rest on our tongue and maybe move it around in our mouth with the tongue. And we'll notice the sensations we have there, temperature, any moisture, the texture, flavors. And again, we resist chewing. And when we feel that urge, we acknowledge it, but we don't react to it and we don't judge it. And when we're ready, we will rate our enjoyment of the food from this stage. And then we'll move on to step five, where we'll start chewing on the food. And remember to be intentional and not to rush through it. And we'll notice the release of flavors and the texture changing and the movement of our jaw and anything else in our awareness. Are we enjoying this food more? Are we thinking anything? And we'll probably feel an urge to swallow and we'll acknowledge it, but we won't react to it. We will just approach it with curiosity and acceptance. And when we're ready, we'll rate our enjoyment of the food from this step. Again, we'll ask ourselves why we gave this number and not a number that's higher or lower. And then we'll move on to the next step, step 6. We'll continue chewing with intention and without rushing and not reacting to the urge to swallow. And we'll notice how the taste is changing and how the texture changes. And we'll notice probably how our enjoyment changes. And we'll keep doing this until we actually notice how the texture and the flavor and our enjoyment more or less doesn't change anymore. And then we'll stop here and we'll pause and give a rating to our enjoyment of the food during this step. And for the 7th and last step, we'll swallow, and we'll do that if we haven't already. And we'll notice the food pass down our throat and down our chest and into our stomach until we don't really feel it anymore. And we'll notice the enjoyment that we got from this step. And then we'll give it a rating. And now we can repeat these 7 steps with another bite of food intentionally and slowly. We'll do it without formal guidance, and we can feel free to do it at a more natural pace or rhythm, doing some parts faster and other parts more slowly. And we can do this for another bite or two. And then for the rest of the bites for this portion, we'll try to go through the 7 steps, but informally and naturally. And then when we come to the beginning of the next portion, we'll repeat the 7 steps and do all of it. We don't have to do it with formal guidance. We can do it at our own natural pace and rhythm. And we'll do that for the first bite or two. And then we'll go on and finish that portion, eating more naturally, but incorporating the 7 steps as we go. And we'll repeat all this for the 3rd and 4th steps. And at the end of that, we'll have finished all the practices for developing our inner gourmet. Thanks for joining me for this session of mindfulness training. And check out the other sessions as well, and also the companion resources that I've put together to help you explore and enjoy the benefits of mindfulness.